My warm greetings to Professor Dr. Rajat Vaishya sir and to Siddhartha Tiwari sir for being with us in this session. I welcome you all to this Industry Academia Introduction Program.
Even till today, whenever something happens, I do call him and I seek his guidance on very sensitive things, and he guides me both on personal and professional levels. Now, coming back to our topic, emerging technologies, concepts, and shaping future strategies. Now, I deliberately picked this topic, as Dr. Aisha mentioned, because of two things. One is concepts, and second is shaping future strategies. Now, for students, concepts are very, very important. And this leads me to my next slide also, where as to why we are here. First of all, from a student perspective, understanding the concepts is very, very important. And these days, when you get hired into any job, any corporate, any private sector, any government organization, normally the mundane work is done by technology. A simple example would be Excel sheets. I mean, Excel sheet can do so much these days that 30, 40 years back, you actually had to put like 10 people who were analysts or who were accountants, but one Excel sheet could do it. So that's the reason strategy is important and concepts are important. I still remember around 20, 25 years back, I went to Dr. Besha talking about an international congress on e-governance where Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was coming, and Dr. Besha looked at me and he said, "बात बड़ा बड़ा करता है, पहले concept समझ." And that has stayed with me for life, and that is what I am coming back with NIT Silchar, that let's discuss the concepts first and a little bit of strategy, because these days every job involves strategy and none of the jobs are mundane. I also have a great passion for filling the education gap, because the technology is changing at such a big landscape level, at such a remarkable pace, that there's an education gap, a mismatch between what is being taught in universities, educational institutes, and interdisciplinary skills that are required outside an educational institute. Now, NIT Silchar has wonderful faculty. You're very grateful to such wonderful faculty members who are mentoring you and taking you through various things. But unfortunately, we are living in a time where things change so fast that we really need to keep abreast. Now, another thing which I wanted to make point of was that there's plethora of information out there, and some of the information is very speculative. Now, what happens is when there's a lot of speculative information, something that sounds spicy or something that sounds very jazzy gets famous very, very well, especially with the younger generation. And that is the reason educators are very important these days, because educators are like curators. They will make sure that they filter the correct information in the right way that will help you shape your future and present to you. Another quick example from my own life is marketing. So I was like shaking my legs in a marketing class and thinking, when Kotler has written this whole book, Marketing Management, why should I sit in the class? So I bunked the class of marketing 25 years back almost, and I went back to library to my realization. The Kotler book was 700, 800 pages unabridged, and I thought the professor was explaining in such simple terms. He must have read the book several times. He must have read associated monographs, associated criticisms, research paper associated with Kotler's theories of 5Ps, 7Ps, etc. And he would know much more. And that's the time I realized educators play a great role of curating the content. And that's what I've tried to do here. I've tried to curate some content for you guys. Some of the videos are not that well watched also, so I haven't gone for the popular stuff, but I want to make sure that all the concepts are well caught by you. Now, we can also make it interactive, but I just have one request. When one person is speaking, others keep your mic mute, otherwise it will start echoing. So let's start off showing you a photo. Any idea what this is about? I just checked, I wasn't on mute all this time, so I think my voice carried. Any guesses? Wild guesses are also okay. We are in an informal setting. We are all Professor Beshia's kids, so we can feel free to talk on this call. Anybody? Or you can just put it on the comments here. Okay, time is precious, so I'll go ahead.
Kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like
yeah.
everyone,
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like everyone is attending a certain event of the company.
Lovely, Devansh, lovely, and also Meghali said people gathering, which is also absolutely correct. Beyond that, I also don't expect you guys to take a guess. So let's move like just 6 or 7 years in the future. Do you see how the same place has changed? And actually, the place is Vatican City, where Pope comes out during Christmas time and addresses the gathering. Now, this is 2005. We just see one flip phone in the hand of a guy who's right behind, and this is 2013. We haven't even touched a decade, and technology has changed everything, even the way a public appearance of Pope is taken by the public. So that's the crux of this entire presentation. How technology has touched us, what are the key concepts, what are the strategies, and how do we move ahead. Now, when we come to the presentation, I again have one more question with you, and I want to deliberately make it interactive with you guys. What would be the digital population of the world? Any guesses? Or I'll put it more simply, instead of these heavy academic words, how many internet users do you think there are? And no Google searches. This should be fast.
Something like 2 billion.
Okay, little more. Give it like double it at least. 4 billion. Pradipta Das, you're close.
4 billion.
A little more. 5 million. Ilyas got it. Yeah. So it is actually like 5.18 billion internet users. And did I by mistake say million? No, it's billion. 5.18 billion internet users worldwide. And these 5.18 billion internet users amount to almost 64% of the global population. Now, what's the global population? This should come out fast, actually. I'm waiting for the comments or waiting for a quick reply. 7 billion, close, 7 to 8 billion, yeah. So of the, 8 billion plus, good Biman, yeah. Awesome. So of this total, 4.8 billion or 59% of the world's entire population are social media users. That's the reason you have to design the future. And when I say you have to design the future, not for your own organizations, but for your own careers also. For your own career, you need to know strategies, core concepts, so you can go ahead and face the world. Now, another very interesting trend, and these days with the new world order, with technology bringing in so many changes, data, knowledge, and insight. These are three pillars on which everything is based. So very, very interestingly, assuming that Earth's population is 8.1 billion, any guesses how many mobile connected devices are there in this world? 8 billion people, how many connected devices? This can be any device. It can be a TV which is connected by internet. It can be an iPad. It can be a tablet. 2 billion. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, somebody went for 10 plus. Yeah, Devansh, you're close. 12, 15. Tushar. Absolutely. So there are 15 billion mobile connected devices in this world. And the reason is, just look at your own houses. I know many of you would be out of houses, living in hostels, but when you go back to your houses, there would be a TV that's connected by the internet. There's a car which is connected by the internet. There's a phone. There are multiple phones in the house. Even kids have phones these days. So almost double the population of the planet, we have outnumbered the number of devices in this world. And I was looking at some of the data and insights, and we not only will double this, we will grow multiple times in next 7 years. In next 7 years, we are expecting almost 75 billion devices in this world, which are connected by the internet. It means everything is talking to everything else. And that's what lays the premise of this presentation. Now for today, let's focus on few things. One is sustainability. I've picked sustainability for a very, very particular reason, which we'll discuss further in the presentation. Little bit of AI, the important concepts, and bit of synthetic biology, because it's actually revolutionizing of many things in the manufacturing industry, and some of the top trends that as a student will be very, very helpful for you. Also, the reason I picked these things was when almost 25 years back, when I used to be a student in your age, I realized internet is the next big thing in my campus. And knowing what's coming is of great importance for a student. For example, if you know that synthetic biology is the next thing, or there's a lot of focus on sustainability and AI, you will again bring up your knowledge base, build your knowledge base according to these things, and that will help you further in life, further to grow in career, and the knowledge base will be very, very strong. We will also cover some crucial fundamentals, and as Dr. Basha always says, basics are very important. So sooner or later, we'll also discuss some of the very, very basic concepts and take it forward. Now let's start with synthetic biology. What is synthetic biology? It's a rapidly evolving field of technology that holds tremendous potential for commercial and industrial applications. Think of it, technology coming along with biology. For example, biology can produce an alternative to animal-derived leather with properties and textures similar to animal-derived leather. And that's such a huge quantum jump, because there's already so much noise about leather. Not only does it pollute, the industries pollute, but it's also about animals. Also, synthetic biology can produce materials that self-assemble, self-repair are also possible with synthetic biology. Providing a new landscape with these advanced materials is something that is going to bring about change in a lot of things. Actually, the rooms or whichever place you guys are sitting, I'm sure it has got wood somewhere, it has got a carpet somewhere. All these things will change with synthetic biology in the coming 1 or 2 decades maximum. Lab-grown wood, also known as cultured or engineered wood, is a material created using cells from trees grown in labs rather than being harvested directly. And I know from my own experience in Silicon Valley, there are billions of dollars of startups that are getting funded on synthetic biology. And this seems to be the next big thing which will change manufacturing. And that's the reason I covered this, because it's going to have a huge impact on food, pharmaceuticals, plastic, wood, and also synthetic biology has a huge advantage of being carbon resistant, low carbon emission, and that ties up with sustainability. So I'm not sure if you guys thought about synthetic biology, read about it, but from my experience of the Silicon Valley, being in the industry, I think that's one of the first things that's going to come and change manufacturing industry in a big way. Now, again, like some of the quick pop quiz, or I want to keep it very informal. How many languages do you think you need to know to do bare minimum communication with the rest of the world?
3 languages.
3, okay. What else? Bare minimum.
Bare minimum of 1 language only.
Yes, lovely, lovely. That's the reason I gave hint again of bare minimum. Okay, let's quickly look at a video and take this forward about the language.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
¿Ha hecho los deberes? Sí, ya lo
Me
tengo.
llamo Alberto. A mí me encanta el fútbol. Cuando mi mamá se mudó aquí para trabajar, al principio a mí me dio miedo. Realmente yo quería jugar al fútbol, pero no hablaba nada de inglés.
Me and Glenn coached the Portadown youth team.
One night, I just looked over and saw Alberto. He just said, "Do you want to play football?" He couldn't really understand me.
Well, I don't speak Spanish. Glenn speaks a wee bit. Hola. That's about it. I've been using Google Translate in work, so I thought I'd just give Gary the app on my phone.
Go play left-hand side, okay?
Ve a jugar en el lado izquierdo.
That's the breakthrough we needed. First, we started with the basics, and then got into more advanced coaching drills.
Cada entrenador me enseñó cosas como la patada de bicicleta, ataques cruzados, proteger el balón y cosas por el estilo.
We just kept working with him, and then he just sort of took off.
This season, his stats are something ridiculous, like 30 goals from 21 games. That's phenomenal at that age. Now Alberto's being scouted by some of the English Premiership clubs. For a kid from this town, well, that's just unheard of.
Entrenador, ¿no puedo irme a casa ya? Estoy agotado.
Coach, can we go home now? I'm exhausted.
You know, it's amazing what a little communication can do. Everyone just loves Alberto. He'll always be a borderline boy. One of us now.
Awesome. I'm not sure, but I think Alberto landed with the youth team of Arsenal. Cool. Let's move ahead. Now, with so much technology around, I think users also drive a lot of innovation and a lot of expectation in the market. A simple example is Wi-Fi in the air. When you're traveling, it used to be unheard of one time, but trust me, if you travel Delhi to Singapore Airlines, out of 5.5 hours, at least 4.5, 5 hours, you will have Wi-Fi. And that also exists over the Pacific if you're traveling towards the US and stuff. So things have changed so much. Imagine sitting in an airplane seat, you're able to chat with your family, you're able to share photos, you're able to do your office work. And sometimes people also doubt, on a very funny note, if you're really traveling or not, because you're so much online and replying to them. Moving on, let's look at some of the key macro trends which is driving consumer change. Now, I deliberately picked these macro trends because they are most important given the current technology landscape, but out of which sustainability is the most important. And why is sustainability so important? The reason is that so much happened during the Industrial Revolution, so much carbon has gone into the air, so much pollution has on the earth, things have changed substantially, that sustainability is no longer a buzzword. Actually, it's a necessity. So in few years, when you will be joining companies or public sector undertakings or working somewhere, you will see that there'll be a lot of emphasis, even at a ground level, on sustainability and the way sustainability works. Let's again look at a quick video and see what how things have changed in the past 37 years on Earth. And we are not talking about a century. We're not even talking about half a century. Just 37 years, because of so much carbon, things have changed a lot.
There's a place in our universe, a marble spinning in a vacuum. It contains life. It contains us. It may look solid and enduring, but now we can see it differently. Across time, living and breathing. Across time, we can see that we, all of us, are changing this place faster than ever before. We can see the impact of the way we live. Of the choices we make. And see their consequences. there's a place in our universe. How we decide to treat it today will determine our future. What will you think? What will you do when you see our world changing before your own eyes?
Awesome. Moving on, as I mentioned, it's all about sustainability. And any organization or even like the government sector is heavily focusing on sustainability these days. I do have one more video on sustainability to share with you. Give me 1 minute. I think I by mistake closed the companion mode. We are coming back. Okay. Now, when it comes to sustainability, I've been in touch with leading policymakers, researchers, academicians, industry professionals. So as I mentioned before, sustainability won't be another fancy term when it comes to any company. It will be one of the core functionalities. Paul Krugman, who's a Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Vincent Cerf, who invented the father, is known as the father of the internet. I've had discussions with these people firsthand. And whenever I'm taking notes in any of the forums or talking to these global leaders, sustainability comes on the top of their mind. And that's the reason sustainability comes very important, knowing about it, and also seeing how things are changing. Okay, let's look at a video. I mean, this video I would have shown in the end, but somehow the companion mode brought few of my slides up. So let's look at how sustainability and the new technologies like
Have you ever looked at the sky and noticed a plane flying overhead with a fluffy white cloud thing trailing behind it? Well, that thing and others like it, with a fluffy white cloud thing trailing behind it, well, that thing and others like it are called contrails. And they're actually responsible for a surprisingly large amount of global warming. So the question is, can we get rid of them? Contrails, short for condensation trails, are essentially artificial cirrus clouds because they're created by planes flying through the atmosphere, typically at least 5 miles above the ground.
When the plane flies through areas that are known as ice supersaturated regions, the soot from the exhaust can sometimes nucleate small droplets and form ice.
Most of these contrails dissipate quickly. For a very small fraction of flights, some of them actually spread out. And when they spread out, especially in the late afternoon and evening, they trap heat into the Earth's atmosphere. So surprisingly, contrails are actually responsible for about 35% of the environmental impact of flying. But planes don't necessarily have to create them.
You can't fly without burning fuel, but you can fly without creating a contrail. Just avoid the superhumid regions in the sky.
These people you just heard from, who are seemingly obsessed with contrails, they're researchers on Google's climate and energy team, which looks for ways that AI and machine learning can help tackle climate change.
Carl on our team read a paper and ultimately came to Google Research and said, is there something that we can do?
Carl?
Yeah, that's me. I'm the one who's making all this noise right now. So the paper basically said, to avoid making contrails, all you really have to do is change the altitudes of a small fraction of all flights by relatively small amounts, away from regions in which the humidity is very high. And I read this and I said, okay, it's only a small percent of all flights. This can potentially get done. But it was soon realized this is a bigger problem than we can solve ourselves. We're not aviation experts. We're going to need help.
Contrails has been widely researched for many decades. In my own case, I've been working on the topic for about 7 years. I'm really excited about the potential for machine learning to push this research forward. Integrating these new analytical tools will enable much more rapid progress in very challenging problems.
Contrail avoidance is very complicated. There's a weather database, which is huge. There's a flight database, which is huge. There's a satellites data, that's also huge. But getting big databases together is something we're good at. Contrail prediction is actually quite difficult because weather forecasts don't do the greatest job predicting humidity that high up. So we're taking sort of a different approach using image recognition and satellite data.
All these satellites take so many images, but we now have the compute ability to process the images. It makes sense in this incredible data set. Kind of like machine learning algorithms that help pick out a cat or pick out a cappuccino in your photos.
But detecting contrails is hard because they look a lot like cirrus clouds. So before we could train the algorithm, we had to teach ourselves how to find them. And then we basically put together contrails labeling parties.
It's quite difficult to identify contrails.
It takes a little bit of practice.
There's a lot of sort of borderline cases.
Natural cirrus kind of looks wispier and has tails falling off of it.
The team and other people they trained spent hundreds of hours tracing the outlines of thousands and thousands of contrails, all to create a data set of labeled imagery. So the machine learning algorithm could learn what was a contrail and what wasn't.
So right now, we've built a demo which can basically forecast where contrails are going to be.
It's just like a big map that's saying, look, planes flying at this altitude will make a contrail, so let's not fly any planes through there.
We felt confident in the technology, but to really prove that contrail avoidance is possible, you just need to do it in the real world, actually moving real planes, working with real pilots. So that's when we actually reached out to the largest airline in the world.
When Google approached us about contrail research, my first thought was, we're going to do what? But after looking at and reviewing the data, we decided, let's go ahead and fly. For our demonstration flights, we have put the tool in the pilot's hand, and then we can determine either to climb a little higher or descend a little bit lower.
Up to and maintain 12,000.
The contrail avoidance, it was very easy, very intuitive. We already change altitudes pretty often to avoid turbulence, so this is completely similar. In the future, it could change how we flight plan our airplanes, and I think that is incredible.
These trials with American Airlines are really the first step, but they're going to be larger questions we run into, like, can we do this at scale? How do we work with air traffic controlled? And the new science known that the heat trapped by a nighttime contrail can be magnitudes greater than daytime contrails. So how do we target the ones that are most important?
As we continue to scale up contrail avoidance, it will take so many people's efforts across so many different sectors.
The urgency of the problem is so great, we really want to just move as fast as we can.
The great thing about contrail avoidance is this is something which you can roll out now. You know, you could change the fuel in the airplanes, you could change the way that the airplane engines work, but it's going to take a really long time. No one's going to throw out the perfectly good plane.
The longer we wait, the harder the problem gets. We have a duty to future generations to get aviation to zero impact. And I think there is now emerging a path that gets us there.
I see contrails all the time now.
I see them everywhere.
It's one of those things that when you see them, you can't unsee them.
Now, I see them all the time, and my kids give me grief. Dad, there's a contrail, get rid of it.
Awesome. The reason I picked this video was some of the people in the video are well known to me. In the research wing of Google, I've met them, and I actually saw the contrail presentation live even before the video came out. And it was very inspiring how technology and sustainability can go hand in hand, and we can avoid the carbon footprint by such a large means of 35%. Okay, quick pop quiz again. How many of you have wallets or purses? Yeah, perfect. Krishna, Swapnil, lovely, lovely, lovely. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And very quick one from my side. I don't have a wallet in Singapore. I only use a phone. But that's only for Singapore. I try to do everything with my phone. And so far, I've survived for last like 8 months by just taking my phone away. It's got everything. I do my payments. I even go to public transport with my phone, swap my phone and everything. And that's how I think within 2 years, when I'll talk to you guys and I'll ask you, hey, do you have a wallet? And you will say, no, I don't have a wallet, but I have a phone. Awesome. With that, another pop quiz. How long does it take for average person to report a lost wallet? Take a guess. And this is the average, a day. Lovely, man. I think the first question that wow. So yeah, I think first 3-4 were spot on. It actually takes 26 hours for the average person to report a lost wallet. And how much time does it take for a person to report a lost phone? Few minutes, okay. 1 hour exactly. Plabon, Pradipta, Biman, Shreya, absolutely. So on an average, it takes like around 68 minutes for a person to report a lost phone, which means definitely phone is way worthwhile than a wallet. Awesome. Moving forward, when it comes to data knowledge insights, this is a picture I took in Bali, and this picture has some story around it. The story is that Waze told me there's traffic, and I ignored that warning because there were hardly few cars, and I said with few cars, it's a one-way lane, there can be traffic. And the moment we went inside, we were stuck in the jam because it was like a religious procession going around. And I was like, I should have looked at the Waze and I should have followed the instructions. Okay, moving on to AI. So AI is the next big thing. Of course, along with synthetic biology, along with sustainability, AI is there. It's also known as a third paradigm shift in technology. Any idea what the first two paradigm shifts were? I'm looking at the messages. Take a guess. If AI is the next big paradigm shift and it's the third next big shift, which are the first two? Yeah, anybody can speak, unmute, or internet. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Awesome internet, computers, and mobile. Absolutely. You guys are smart. Awesome. You nailed it. So first was the internet, second the shift to mobile, and the third is AI. So that's lovely. Awesome. Now, I took this slide. I actually borrowed this slide from MIT and I informed them I'm using them. As I mentioned about concepts, I want to be very clear about the conceptual part, especially with students, that students know the concepts really well. Now, artificial intelligence is often mixed with machine learning, and machine learning is often mixed with deep learning. Also, deep learning is mixed with artificial intelligence. So if you talk to anybody in any organization, they'll say they are using AI, but actually they are not using AI. They are either using ML, which is machine learning, or they are using deep learning. And this is also something sometimes when I interact with young people, I always ask them that would you be aware of the difference between AI and deep learning? So let's look at these concepts and the basic things. Artificial intelligence, any technique that enables computers to mimic human behavior. And when it comes to human behavior, it also means slight emotions, slight factors of the environment and other things. Machine learning is nothing, but it's explicitly programmed to do one certain function and to learn to perform that particular function well. When it comes to deep learning, it's extracting patterns from the data using neural networks. Now, neural networks are essentially used for large plethora of data and analyzing them. Quick, again, pop quiz. Is ML and deep learning part of AI or they're independent streams? You can just say yes or no. Yes? Oh, awesome, awesome. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Vijaya, Anup, Kushal Mrinalini, lovely. Lakshi, Burnali, awesome, awesome. Moving on. Now, AI essentially has the capacity to transform any form of text, picture, speech, video They can be analyzed and they can also be generated. Now that leads to various questions about AI being used in music, AI being used in creative pursuits, AI being used in art. And also, AI has a unique communication capability. That means it can talk and communicate in detail with humans and back to the computers. Now that's what makes AI very, very distinguishable from any other technology. First of all, text, picture, speech, video, perfectly analyzed, can be generated also. Talking and communicating, absolutely tick mark. Now we already went through this case study of AI and sustainability coming together with the contrails, so I'll skip this. Now another very important concept I want you guys to understand is digital dark ages. Now when we sit with most of the small and medium-sized businesses, digital dark ages, we see live examples of it. And I'll give you a few examples. 25 years back, the first project I presented to Dr. Baishya was on a floppy disk. It had a lot of information. I did my references really well, I think in APA style or MLS style, whatever Dr. Baishya had asked me to. I had inline citations. I was a very happy kid that I did it. But all my work, which was done by IIT Delhi days, were all in floppy disks, and they're all gone. That means, as a direct result of outdated file, formats, software, or hardware, that knowledge is inaccessible and it has gone forever. Floppy disk, just an example. Now with technology, we are climbing a ladder, we are going up, but there's always a question of digital dark ages. Just like I lost my research work in IIT Delhi during my formative years, there might be a lot of information that may have been lost. Middle East countries are a stark example where a lot of information, because of some political turmoil and wars that happened, they've lost a lot of knowledge-based information, cultural information. Now, music industry or the movie industry, for example, we can always go and watch Satyajit Ray's Pathir Panchali, because luckily these industries have a lot of money and things have been saved for the future generations. That happened in 50s or 60s or 70s, and everything is digitized. But this hasn't happened everywhere. In fact, the research papers that were written few decades back, not many of them are there in JSTOR. JSTOR is a repository where you can find like research papers, go through a lot of things. So many of the things in the research world, people are doing their literature reviews or studies once again, because a lot of information has been lost. So that's the concept of digital dark ages. Remember this, because if you enter the technology world, this is one of the core concepts, and that's where the future products are being considered in a way that a digital dark age is not, it doesn't impact the darkness of a particular information or a particular product. And anything that's done with one particular technology or one particular format or one particular software or hardware, it never is lost or it never becomes inaccessible because technology has evolved and the data has decayed. Floppy disk is a classic example. That's the reason I put these pictures. Again, a core concept for you guys to take away. Now, technology is getting out of the way. It's coming to a point where technology is advancing too fast in the society today. And that is probably one of the reasons why you need more lectures of these kinds, where you can sit with the industry and get abreast knowledge, the latest happenings, and also touch on the core concepts. Now, we have been talking a lot about profound impact of mobile on our daily lives. Again, a quick pop quiz to keep you guys interactive. The reason is I'm aware in a 1 hour lecture, a student has an attention span of around 10-15 minutes. So I always make sure talking to students, I have these pop quizzes to keep you guys on your feet. And when I was talking to Dr. Bashi days back, he also mentioned the same. Singstead presenting in World Economic Forum or G20 is different. You're talking to students. And I said, absolutely, sir. I'll make sure that my content is tailored towards students. So how many times do you think an average person with a smartphone checks their phone every day? How many times? Let's take a guess. $100 times. Closer, Biman, as always. Little more. Okay, 150. I couldn't follow. 150 is the average actually. Imagine a person with a smartphone, we are checking our phones on an average 150 times per day. Thanks Pratiksha, Tikshmiti and Shiva. Awesome. Moving ahead, the implications of AI, and I've picked up implications of AI specifically on marketing. So let's say you are like a marketing manager of a product or looking after marketing department of a company. These are the implications. First of all, if a person has a routine, automatically a ride-hailing app will say that, hey, will be going for your yoga classes. Shall we prepare a driver for you to pick at this time, 4:55, because your yoga classes are at 3? Or hey, here's an outfit with your jeans, because we know you always buy a particular shade of blue jeans, and these are the shoes that will match perfectly with it. Or your food menu, when it comes to food delivery, we know that you eat only vegetarian food and you eat only these things, or you love only seafood and prawns, or you just like a particular type of fish, or maybe machir chul bhat is your favorite fish dish. So the moment you go to an app or something, marketing people have already put the things out there. So again, there's a swiftness, and instant gratification is a new concept that has emerged out because of technology. What instant gratification means is that consumers are looking for things in a jiffy. It's a world of 2 minutes Maggi. When I was a kid, 2 minutes Maggi concept came. That means something can be cooked in 2 minutes. Actually, it never took 2 minutes, it took a little more. But that's where marketers and research people further enhance this concept, calling it instant gratification. That if a consumer doesn't get something very quickly, they may move on to other choices or other merchants. And that's a psychological impact of the technology these days, instant gratification. Infinite choice is something that goes second. Because of the technology change. This is a photograph from the Japan Shibuya station, where if you see the flavors of fruit juices and cold drinks are so much that, I mean, people have their own choices, like a watermelon flavor, or maybe a green apple flavor, etc., or even some of the most uncommon flavors that we have heard of. It's infinite choice plus instant gratification. So for any marketing activity, these two things are always thought about marketing people. Moving on, in the world now and in the future world, anything that isn't connected is obsolete. It can be a simple thing like your toothbrush to your home's electricity or your home's power consumption, or even your doors, locks, everything. You can control everything with a single device, which most probably will be your only personal device, which is the mobile phone. And you can analyze a lot of things about your own self. For example, I am not brushing my tooth in my molar parts, and that is the reason I need to do that. The toothbrush data analysis is right on your phone. It's already started, and also in India, people do monitor their pace of walking, people monitor how many steps they have done, but the next level is going even more finite with technology. These consumer level products will hit the market in less than a decade, and that will be huge. Anything and everything you do on a day-to-day basis is because of everything connected via internet, and every device will have its own data and story to tell you so that you lead a better life. Moving forward, I'll finish with one of my favorite videos, which is Communication Not Have a Barrier. And again, when I saw this video, I was like very, very emotional looking at this video, because it's about a person who can't speak, and the way the deaf community has evolved because of technology. So here we go.
Interview take one, marker.
Hi, I'm Daniel Durant, and that's my name sign. I'm deaf and I'm an actor. Acting has always been a dream of mine. And now, getting to act on stage, and then being in a feature film, and getting to be part of a dance competition on TV, my dream's coming true. I had a long journey to get here. My first time acting was 9 years old, and I told my moms that I want to be involved in more plays, and they said, fine. But understand, I'm from Duluth, Minnesota. It's a small town, and there was no opportunity for a long time. So I remember looking back when YouTube came up. I was like, YouTube, what is that? And then looking into it, I noticed that anyone could post any video. So I would make funny videos and see funny videos from other deaf people, and that gave me an idea. I like to tell stories and tell jokes in ASL. And then I made my own videos. I have some, let me show you. My channel on YouTube is still there. You know, the deaf community is very small. So having a platform like YouTube, you just write in deaf, funny, and then a ton of videos would come up, and that's how we would find each other. All of the things we could show each other, I'm just very thankful for YouTube for that. Really, I'm proud that I'm still on TV and showing my face out there because I want to represent for the deaf community. Really, it's important because we need more authentic deaf actors, because authenticity is important, and there's millions of stories about us out there. Like myself, being involved with Deaf West Theater allowed me to meet tons of creative people, actors, writers, directors. We all got to sit around and share our dream with each other and grow and develop. So for the next generation of deaf children, I want to see them grow. Really, it's so nice having the technology on the Google phone, the live captions. I can call someone, and when they pick up and start speaking, there's captions for me. It's transcribed, so I can see what a hearing person's saying, and then I can type back. So that means I can order my own pizza, you can call and make a doctor's appointment, you can do it yourself. So I feel more independent, and it's amazing. Whatever makes you happy and what you enjoy doing, follow that. Chase that. The important thing is we connect. Communication does not have to be a barrier.